Yo. Yo, what's good, everybody? Hey, yo, new car parts, check. Dun, 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 dun. Yo, it's official, everyone. Today we're gonna get started on assembling the turbo on the 1.6 Miata. Yeah, I already drilled and tapped the oil pan. So I ended up using this step drill bit and the tap, half-inch tap. And I already bolted it up in there, as you can see. I did put some blue Loctite to seal the threads. I'll post some pictures. I was letting my GoPro batteries charge, but I took some pictures with my phone. I also already took out the O2 sensor. Yeah, pretty much I'm just gonna start bolting this stuff up. The intercooler, turbo. I have more parts in here, like a whole crap load. The exhaust.
That's a lot of damage. How about a little more?
The manifold, blow off valve, the intake pipe. Let's get started. I'm gonna start off by taking apart the master flow sensor. I'm gonna just disassemble the whole intake piping side just to give myself more room when taking out the exhaust manifold and everything else. I might never need it again, but you never know. What if I get state rep?
Hey, pop the hood. Pop the hood? Pop the hood.
Damn, that would suck. I'm not gonna need this math with the turbo because I did order a air temperature sensor, but I will need the connector. I don't need no pliers. Maybe I do. Room for activities now.
Look at all this floor space. We do aerobics in here. So many activities.
I'm gonna loosen the exhaust manifold bolts now. Oh shit, it was loose. This is fine. Oh shit, they were all loose. Must have been all the, oh no, just the two outer ones. Must have been the heat cycles. They seem loose, but I guess not loose enough to cause an exhaust leak. And then she wonders why you're so good with your fingers. Oh, she's coming. Ooh! Here she comes. I just unbolted the V-band flange from the exhaust, so this thing should come out now. There we go. All this room.
Look at all this floor space.
While I was down there unbolting the V-band flange, I just went ahead and took out the whole exhaust. Since I'm gonna be putting on a different one. Here's the CX Racing manifold. It held up. I was beating the crap out of it too. I like the way it discolored. The stainless steel, it looks nice. I'll probably put it up for sale sometime soon. Try to get some of my money back. The T3 flange. I'm gonna bolt this up now. Stud that's not lining up, problems already. Alright, that should be good for when I go to tighten it. It should mate against the head. So I'm gonna just put a couple nuts on. I'm gonna put the studs on now before I forget. Alright, now with the studs in, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the oil feed. So I'm gonna have to take out that bolt there and put this fitting so then I can hook it up to this line, and then I can hook it up to the turbo oil inlet.
Say it again, Dexter.
The fitting that the turbo kit provided is tapered. I don't know if this one is tapered because it has a crush washer, but we'll see right now. After all this is done, I'm gonna have to drain the oil and then get some thicker oil, because with the turbo setup, everything's gonna run hotter. Okay, here it is. Doesn't look like it's tapered. So I just dug through all the fittings that the kit came with, and none of them go from the block fitting. I'm not sure what thread this is, to the tapered fitting that will go to the feed line, which is a 7/16. So I need something that goes from this thread to an 1/8 NPT, so then I can bolt the line to the other end of that fitting. So I'm gonna go find that part at like Home Depot or some shit, we'll see.
One eternity later.
So I just spent like 3 hours trying to look for a fitting that would work with these two pieces, but I couldn't find it. I went to like, I don't know, probably 6 different hardware stores, and they did not have it. So I'm gonna have to order it online. But for the meantime, I'm gonna bolt up all like the intercooler, the exhaust, and all that. I'm probably not gonna bolt up the turbo just so I can easily access that fitting there, but because of that fitting, it's probably gonna take me, I don't know, however long it takes for the fitting to get here. The kit came with one of these brackets that's gonna take place of the tow hook here, I think, and that's where the other hanger is gonna go. All right, I got the muffler hooked up. I had to remove the tow hook here to put the bracket that the kit provided with, so I can put the hanger here. Now I'm just gonna mock up the rest of the exhaust, and I'll show you guys when it's all mocked. I'm gonna loosely put the flanges on because I still need to hook up, mount up the turbo and everything, so it's good to leave everything loose to align things as needed. There it is. So the downpipe isn't hooked up yet, but this goes all the way back and right here to the V-band and then to the muffler. So right now that the downpipe is not hooked up, I'm gonna just go ahead and bolt on the wide band just to make it a little easier. I think it's hitting in there. Yeah, the bung is slightly off-centered, so I'm gonna have to deburr some of that. Okay, I clearanced the hole up enough, and now the wide band sits in good. I don't know if you guys can see the wide band there. Now I'm gonna just bolt this down all the way. For the boys. So I just took out the under tray because it was in the way and it's all torn up anyways, so it wasn't grabbing anything. And here's the intercooler with its brackets. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that up there and see where it mounts. Alright, I hooked up the majority of the intercooler piping. So you can see here the cold side of the intercooler, the vacuum that goes to the pipe. This here is gonna be for the air temperature sensor, the blow-off valve down there. And then it loops around. This here's for the wastegate. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, the nipple right there for the wastegate. Then it goes down here to the cold side where it meets the intercooler. All the way to the other side. Then it goes right there. End up and it snakes right there, and that's where the turbo is gonna be. But as I mentioned, I need to order that fitting and then wait for it to arrive. So that's what's gonna make this build the lag a little bit for me. For you guys, maybe it'll just be one video still. And yeah, it's already getting dark, so I'm gonna clean up and then order the part. We'll see what happens. It's the next day, and I ordered the part yesterday night, but it's gonna take about a week for it to get here, the fitting. So I decided I'm just gonna mount up the turbo. I already bolted down the manifold. So I decided I'm gonna just mount up the turbo and clock everything as I should, and then see if I have to order vacuum lines or whatever. Here it is, boys. Turb skis. Just a baby turbo. So it looks like I'm gonna have to rotate this like 90 degrees, the cold side. And this one, I have to rotate it a little bit more so the feed is pointing directly upwards so the oil can drain appropriately. So now that I loosened them, this is how the feed port should be aimed. I don't know if you guys saw, but now this side is, I can rotate this assembly. I'll have it like this, straight upwards. Yeah, that looks good. Yup. Yup.
Oh.
Now that this side is facing the right direction, I'm gonna rotate this one so I can mount this coupler up. And also to hook up the wastegate. Like that, I think. That looks like a lot of strain on the coupler. Yeah. So I just started to mount up the wastegate, but it looks like the holes don't exactly line up on the wastegate bracket, as you can see. So I'm just gonna cut a slot pretty much on there. File down the sharp edges. Alright, after messing with a few setups on the intercooler piping, I think I'm happiest with this one. It cleans up the engine bay way more than this coupler being upward bent at a 90. I already put on the downpipe mounting face that has the wastegate port, and I hooked up the wastegate to the turbo. I still need to tighten it up. It's clocked, but it's not tightened up all the way yet. But yeah, this is how it's looking. It looks pretty sick. So at this point, I think I'm just gonna, I'm gonna tighten the turbo now that it's clocked the right way, and probably put the clamps on, and I'll still have to hook up the blow off valve here, and the air temperature sensor. Before I tighten this one, let me make sure that this rod is completely closed. Which I think it is. There we go. I might as well hook up the drain. Looks like they also forgot to send me the fitting that goes from the drain of the turbo to the drain line. Yeah, this is probably the same size as the oil pan one, which was a 1/2 inch NPT to a AN fitting. So then I can bolt this onto this, because as is right now, it's not gonna seal. Let me make sure this is a 1/2 inch NPT. Since I have my 1/2 inch tab, let me see if it threads in nicely. Yep. Yeah, so it is a 1/2 inch NPT. So I'm also have to order that fitting. Not a big deal because I'm waiting for the other ones anyways. You already know I had to crack one for the boys.
One eternity later.
So the fitting that I needed for the oil feed finally came in. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt up the oil feed, but I'm still waiting for the oil drain fitting, the one that goes onto this piece, that goes onto the drain port of the turbo. But at least this came in, so I'm gonna put this on real quick. So it came with the washer too. This part is gonna go with the oil feed side. Here, this part here. That one doesn't need a washer because it's tapered. So there's a line in there. I had my hand in there for 1 second and look at this. So dirty down there. Alright, so there it is. The oil feed line goes right here down to the block. I'm just wait for the drain fitting now. Yo, that's the next week, and the fitting the other fitting for the turbo drain that I was waiting for arrived. It's this aluminum one. I ordered two because I was afraid that one would break since it's aluminum, but I already put it on the drain port, so I'm gonna just bolt this up and then bolt up the oil drain line. Just a little morning coffee. It came with its gasket. Hopefully it doesn't leak, and the bolts. So the drain is down here. You guys probably can't see it. I wonder if you guys can see it there. I'm kind of doing this by feel. Alright, now I'm gonna hook up the drain line. These don't need gaskets because they're tapered. So I just tried putting the oil drain line, but it's too long, so there's a huge kink. Look, I'll show you guys. So this side goes to the drain, and then this goes to the oil pan. And you see how there's this huge kink, and it's also a bunch of oil is gonna pull up here rather than going straight to the pan. So I'm gonna cut it probably to like around something like that, maybe. I'll mark it. And I have to put the fitting back on. So I just ended up cutting it by that much more. Now I'll put the fitting back on. Oh, I also have to cut the heat shield. And then goes the flare piece. So as I tighten this down, it's gonna flare the hose so I can get a tight fit. Nothing like a nice Harbor Freight wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this up now. This is the last piece to the puzzle, boys. And there it is. So that was the install of the turbo. I don't know if I showed you guys, but I hooked up the downpipe already. I don't think I showed you guys. I hooked up the vacuum lines and all the vacuum lines, the one that goes to the blow-off valve. So on the next one, we'll probably show you guys maybe a little bit of street tuning or something. I gotta, retune this whole car because with the turbo and everything. So I know which clutch I want to order, but they're out of stock. It's the Flying Miata Happy Meal set. But since they're out of stock, I don't know when they're gonna restock, and that's the kit I want. So I'm just gonna try to minimize the amount of boost pressure for the time being, and hopefully I don't get no clutch slippage. Oh yeah, I also don't know if I showed you guys, but I installed the air temp sensor, and I wired it, routed it all through here, through the bottom of this panel, up and around to the original MAF connector. I also wired up the fan, a different fan, because with my stock fan, it was hitting the intercooler. Yeah, so we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.